Remember when I said that Avatar was a psyop and I was proven wrong because it keeps making money? Yeah. I have no idea why, but like it's past $1 billion.
We found a bigger psyop than Avatar.
Bad Bunny is a psyop. I stand by this.
I think maybe it's a major industry plant psyop. Yeah. I cannot name for my life one of his songs.
Do you know anyone that listens to Bad Bunny?
I think that maybe he is just way more relevant in Latin America.
And younger generation, I guess. But you're the younger generation.
But mainly Latin America. Okay. Or he's just part of the Matrix, as Andrew Tate calls it. I don't know anything relevant about him. I was only introduced to him with his cameo in Bullet Train. I was familiar with only his name before that. For the third year in a row, the most streamed artist on Spotify. That's just wild to me. That seems fake. It seems fake to me. But I mean, I was shocked at the popularity of Despacito back when that came out. The world is a big place. We learn that more and more every day. And the West is no longer the epicenter of pop culture. It's reverberating out. Yeah, I mean, did that kind of start with K-pop, do you think? Like it didn't start there, but it's a huge reason. So Bad Bunny, who is a famous celebrity, had the great idea that when a lady comes up to him while walking on the street and she basically tries to record him with her phone, he just takes her phone and he just throws it in the fountain. Because in 2023... basic human decency, dignity, it's flown out of the window. There's no sense of decorum. No. And you can just do whatever you want if you're a celebrity. Let's watch because you're entitled to do whatever you want. Yeah. Okay. Does it show the rest of the fans walking by him? Wow. They all have like turbans on their heads. They're all matching, like wearing matching turbans. Or something like that. I don't know, but the point is like my issue. He probably threw the phone because that one fan wasn't wearing a turban. Could have been. She wasn't fitting in with the rest. My issue with this isn't what he did; it's his reaction afterwards. I can understand, like, if I was to be as charitable as possible. First of all, he doesn't look like he's having the worst day of his life. It looks like he's strutting around like a douche. And he just felt particularly full of himself in that moment and was like, I'm going to destroy someone's personal property to aggrandize myself. It's not a dude who's like coming out of a car. There's flashes everywhere. He's so overwhelmed. He's clearly not. No, he's a douche. And he threw this lady's phone because he felt cool. He strutted like an absolute loser. And then afterwards, he doesn't have the decency or the self-respect or even the ability to be reflective of his own actions, to be like, look, I shouldn't have done it. I regret doing it. No, he doubles down and says like, well, I did it because she was being disrespectful. Well, you know, maybe I'm stupid, but two wrongs don't make a right. Seems like a base level of human decency here, right? Like maybe he tweeted in defense of what he did. Yes. It was originally in Spanish. This is the English version. He said, the person who comes up to me to say hello, to tell me something or meet me will always receive my attention and respect. Those who come to put a phone in my face, I'll consider it for what it is, a lack of respect, and treat it likewise. So he is not backing down. He refuses to apologize or admit wrongdoing, or even admit that he was just overly impulsive.
It reminds me of Kylie Jenner. I want to say like fall of this year, some influencer went up to her and was like, oh my gosh, I'm here with Kylie Jenner. Like, instead of asking for a picture, did like a little Instagram spot or whatever. And she is recorded saying like, I usually get paid for those. Like, she's clearly uncomfortable, but she's not wrong, right? Like, typically to get her to appear on your story,
it'd be cooler if she sent her a bill afterwards. She
like
sent her a bill for
but if she had done that, we all like, the response would have been like, that's so rude. Like, fans just trying to see her. Like, in some ways, like, I don't know what that girl was saying or what the phone thing was. Like, I don't think you should have thrown her phone. On the other hand, like, look, hardcore punk rockers have done way worse, I'm sure. Like, I don't think it's appropriate for him to do that. On the other hand, like,
in the culture we live in now, like, it just feels like one of those things where, yes, punk rock would have been the thing to do back in the day. Nowadays, I imagine the punk rocker would then grovel at the feet of his label and apologize for daring to offend one of his fans. But it's not that. It's not that he did it. It's just saying, like, look, dude, I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry.
She might have been, like, sorry, obnoxious and intrusive and fawning over him in an annoying way. Obviously, like, I'm sure that happens to him a ton.
He didn't walk for 10 minutes.
I don't sympathize with Bad Bunny over just revealing how entitled he is.
She didn't
He
walk with
clearly
him.
was not distressed.
Yeah. And she didn't walk with him for like 5 minutes, continually bothering him. She walked up for all of 8.5 seconds. And he decided that was the moment you take someone's $1,000 device. He doesn't know. Well, like, phones are expensive. Is she supposed to put on her request for like a new phone? Bad Bunny threw in pool. Kick rocks, dude.
Well, people were
like,
weirdly split on this. Like,
yes.
some people were pointing
not
out.
Weirdly, I think that's actually. I kind of expected it.
A lot of people were saying, like, celebrities don't owe you anything. They don't owe you time, pictures, videos, shout outs.
No, they don't. But they
even
don't.
Personal space. Like, they don't owe you those things. That is true. But at the same time, if you're looking for mutual respect, this is not the way to go about it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she should just file charges against him, right?
Yeah. Well,
destruction of personal property. Like, there are recourses for her, and obviously it's on video, and he's a public figure, so it seems like slam dunk case to me. I'm not sure where they are.
I will also dunk on
the
anybody
Dominican
who
Republic.
The thing for me is, like, all he did was reveal that he is a jerk. Like, that's
But I
good.
think some
like,
of his
you should
fans
realize that tons of people are not nice, and just making them famous doesn't make them
Yeah.
nice. In some ways, like, I respect that he didn't apologize in this weird way, because, like, I'm sure he's not sorry. I'm sure he feels like he did exactly what he should do, because he's probably not a very good or nice person.
But I think that some of his fans just, and himself, revel in the fact that he is an egotistical douchebag,
Sure.
and they like him more for that.
I also will laugh at anybody who stands for like a celebrity on Twitter.
Especially if you're an adult. Like, maybe if you're a kid, like, like, idolize whoever you want and have a Stan account. But if you're over a certain age, that is completely undignified behavior. This situation also kind of reminds me of a story we covered last year where Doja Cat went to Paraguay, and she was frustrated that they have a different fandom culture there, where she believed they were being disrespectful, that they felt they were entitled to getting pictures with her and touching her.
Yeah.
And they were all waiting outside of her hotel. So she got frustrated at them, and she basically said that people in Paraguay are all like racist and anti-black. I assume she meant that because some people were calling her racial epithets over her not meeting them and giving them the attention that they wanted.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, not all cultures are as racially sensitive as we are in the West.
Yeah.
But a lot of people argued about that because, like, how can you have beef with the entire country when I'm sure that was a very vocal minority?
Was that the only example here? I feel like we had like another one happen like that where like, I'm not coming back to the entire, was that the Doja Cat one? She's like, I'm not coming back to the entire country.
She said, I'm never coming back to
this
Paraguay.
entire country because like a couple of people were
Were there other examples?
I will also say
there's
here,
Chris Brown, like, people in response to this situation were posting a bunch of pictures of Bad Bunny, kissing and getting close to a lot of his female fans. So they're like, wow, you care about personal space that much? That's obviously a different situation, and that's more like him engaging in like a Chris Brown behavior where he's taking pictures with fans, doing like sexually explicit poses, or like Maddie Healy where he was in hot water just for like kissing one of his fans behind a barrier who showed ID beforehand,
checking
by
in
the
ID
way.
to make sure they're of age now because
like at least it's like in an attempt to be rock and roll.
Look, I will also say that it's a fair critique to say that like, look, I don't know what's going on in his head. I can say that it doesn't look like he's in distress. Sure, I guess. Like maybe he was having the worst day of his life. I worked retail for a lot of years, and in that I usually had that same kind of understanding. Like if somebody treated you awful that day, I would say to that, I would say like, look, that person, I don't know what type of day that person's having. That they could be having the worst day of their life. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, that's true. It's not like you expect that person to perpetrate that behavior again the second time. But I also know that I work next to a lot of customer service desks where people just can be just awful, right? Mm-hmm. So is it just part of his brand? Sure. But that just goes more into the idea that Hollywood doesn't want to promote anyone that also there is kind of the anti-fan nature of it, right? Like nobody in Hollywood these days has respect for fans, and it's looked down upon if you hold even the slightest amount of reverence for any type of fandom or source material of stuff that fans are.
Who looks down on it, like the industry?
The industry, the writers, the producers, and they see it as an affront to the art. Like, oh, I'm giving my take on it, so therefore, how dare you try to? There's a YouTuber named Comics by Perch who did a really good video the other day where he talks about. I don't remember who it was. It was like a porn director talked about, like, was commenting on Marvel, talking about when fans say give the people what they want you to, you know, it doesn't mean you have to give them everything they want. That's a dumbed down explanation of what that means. It means, like, we want you to stay true to the spirit of the work. And then another writer came in and said, ignore all that advice. Don't do any of that, because they really do see themselves as above you. They see themselves as part of the ivory tower, part of the tastemakers, along with the media class, right? That look down on the people that kept these properties alive for years. Whether he likes it or not, if a person came up to him to get his photo, they've spent money on his products. They are the reason he flies around in a private jet everywhere. I only say that because I was literally just watching, I just saw a tweet the other day where Triple H, like, because Bad Bunny's done stuff with, like, WWE, where he's like, Bad Bunny's so famous, when he comes to town, he just stops by on his private jet and then flies away. I'm like, it really is the Matrix, right? Where they're like, look at this private jet, good. Fame, good. You want to be famous like us. Consume product, consume product, consume product.
But again, it depends on the person, because then you see, like, Taylor Swift or Kylie Jenner or other celebrities getting flamed on the internet for their environmental impact as they travel in private jets. Like, it's all selective enforcement again.
Then maybe I would have to be a bit self-reflective here and wonder what my take would be if the climate activists came for Bad Bunny and he threw their climate report into the fountain. Would I think differently of him?
That's different.
Probably.
But that is substantively different, because, like, that type of activism is made to be intruding upon somebody, rather than this fan who seemed to be naively looking for a personal interaction and then just had her personal property destroyed.
From a generation that doesn't understand that that's not how you greet people. I guess it's maybe.
I mean, Bad Bunny wouldn't understand that either.
Perhaps. I mean, maybe.
So therefore, they're in the same generation, right?
Yeah. It's okay. He looks about like 25 or something.
In that case, you're basically saying she knew the risk. Like, she decided to film him.
Everyone else walking around him was perfectly fine. Like, I don't think she had any reason to expect him to lash out.
It's just like, look, I understand that I'm kind of putting, like, words into his mouth when I say that it seemed like he wasn't, like, when he was, like, strutting around, it didn't seem like he was having a bad day. I'm only basing it on what his actions looked like there.
I mean, he probably has a huge ego and felt like, I mean, I bet there was very little thought that went into this. He thought, I don't want her to do this anymore, and it'd be kind of funny if I threw her phone. And so he did it. And, like, after that, to me, that's sort of the end. Like, yeah, it's disrespectful. On the other hand, like, this is a young guy who's gotten really famous really quickly and apparently gets a lot of attention. Like, there's no check on his ego, right? So why wouldn't he behave this way? It's not that he should, it's not that acceptable, but, like, it's not surprising.
And like you said, punk rock, this would have been the norm. Like, in a lot of genres, bad boy celebrities have existed for an eternity.
Also, I don't think he's being a bad boy celebrity. I think he's just being a jerk.
I don't think it's comparable, because in that, punk rock era, I think people weren't as artificially propped up as, like, social media influencers.
Yeah.
What I hate most about watching this situation play out is that Bad Bunny is so clearly an artificial, astroturfed celebrity, at least in the West.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to not only be having a conversation about him right now,
maybe not
but also, like,
in the West,
accept his defense of his actions when he hasn't shown any respect to the public.
I mean, I think Bad Bunny is actually popular in the West.
Yeah, listen, maybe not astroturfed as much as, like, just a result of globalist entertainment now.
I don't think anyone, if you come across them in the street, can name a Bad Bunny song. That's not a thing.
I don't know. Also, here's the other thing. Back in the day, this wouldn't have been a teenage girl getting her camera thrown on the ground. It would have been a paparazzi. It's not a paparazzi. What's the individual for paparazzi? I always forget. Is it paparazzo? Paparazzo.
Yeah.
It would have been an individual whose job it was to go and be invasive to celebrities. And back in the day, which is odd about this, me and you talk all the time about how back in the day, the paparazzi were kind of supposed to be on our side. They were there to kind of expose the celebrities, but we still would have laughed.
In a way, I think celebrities used to have a relationship with the paparazzi that was like a mutually assured destruction, where like, yes, they would try to use them to their advantage, but it wasn't a guaranteed thing that the paparazzi would work to make them look good.
But even then, like even though then the paparazzi would have been more likely to have been unbiased and give us stories that we actually wanted to see, we still would have laughed.
Salacious ones.
We still would have laughed if a celebrity had taken their camera and thrown it on the ground.
I'm pretty sure it was Johnny Depp who got in trouble for doing this. Someone photographed his daughter, and he was like, you can photograph me, whatever, but you cannot photograph my children. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, whatever Ryan she's married to, have taken similar stances. They don't want people, like when she like announced she was pregnant, or
and Gigi Hadid, she hides
maybe
her baby.
Mary's hottest take from 2022 pop culture is that Mary doesn't think Ryan Reynolds is attractive.
He's not.
He just looks like a random guy.
See? Look, only men are attracted to Ryan Reynolds. Proof.
I think they are because he's attainable hotness, right? Like, he is good looking, but he's not, like, freak out about it. What I was going to say is, like, I think that there are paparazzis who understand the mutual relationship that they have with celebrities, right? And so do celebrities. There are times they want to be photographed. There are times they don't. They would prefer that their better photographs get released and sold to the media than the ugly ones, whatever. But I also think that there are definitely paparazzis who, similarly to kind of rabid fans, feel entitled to the photograph. They feel as though it's appropriate. The Blake Lively example I was going to finish with is after she went to Selma Award Show and very pregnant, people are like, oh, she's having her 4th baby. And she tweeted, like, she posted on Instagram a bunch of photos of her throughout her pregnancy being like, maybe now the people who are camped out on my lawn will leave. Yeah. Like, there is a weird dynamic. I think similarly,
they pay money for first photos of babies.
Right. And I
like
feel like there are probably fans who feel as though they deserve a photo, and there are celebrities who feel like their boundaries are compromised. Should you throw someone's phone in the water? Maybe not. Should you break up paparazzi's person camera? Maybe not. But there are times when, like, I think it's more complicated than just like, oh, they're having a bad day, so we should forgive them. Or like that the fan was being nice enough. Like, you shouldn't have to tolerate someone photographing you just because.
That's why when I see the video of Bjork literally getting in a physical fight with paparazzi, I cheer that on. Like, but I'm also on no one's side. I just, whatever the vibe requires.
It's why we will always be here, Mary, because we are not going to take one hyperbolic side over the other. It's just, it is what it is. One side or the other. I just thought it was interesting because it just feels outside the realm of what I would normally see. I'm trying to picture Tom Holland, like walking down, like kind of like he's buff, but he's skinny at the same time. And somebody's just bothering Zendaya. So he grabs their phone and he just, he throws it and he's like hurts his arm because he's
the example from that is like him and that other tall Timothy Chalamet.
He would be a better example.
No,
Timothy Chamomile. If we're going to call Emily Ratajkowski Ratatouille, then Timothy Chalamet is Timothy Chalet or Timothy Chamomile.
Chevrolet.
Yeah, but they have been photographed like with either their female co-stars, or I think it's Tom and Zendaya, like on the red carpet, and they'll be wearing like low-cut dresses, and they'll go to adjust themselves, and they always step in front of them to block them, right? Like, it would make a paparazzi's life to get a nip slip on the red carpet, right? And like, they are conscious enough of the culture that they are in, but also the particular risks of the women that they're with, that they do something about it, right? Like, I think that it's easy for us to say like, yeah, maybe Bad Bunny should apologize, and maybe he should. He's definitely a jerk. I'm not a fan, but like, on the other hand, like, does he owe anyone any kind of behavior other than human decency? Like, does he owe it to this girl to let her continue to videotape him?
Take the phone, lock it, like close it, lock it, hand it back to her.
And it would have been different if he like threw it on the ground and she screenshot. Like, she could never get it out of the ocean. Or if he like
just set it down and kept walking.
Yeah, he
like
just
gently tapping.
We are very much playing Monday morning quarterback here. That's not fair to him either. Like, look, he acted.
He should have done this. He should have done that.
I mean, I totally believe he's a jerk. It's 100%.
Who would be the American version of Bad Bunny that would do something like this? I can't even think of like a Western American.
I mean, I bet you get an example.
Jack Harlow.
Or if you look back in the day of like Justin Bieber, I bet Justin Bieber has some kind of equivalent.
That's why we love Justin Bieber, because
people hated him for so long, and they had good reasons.
I never hated him.
He was a jerk.
I was like, when he was peeing in mop buckets, I'm like, he's a kid. He's 20-something years. Like, he's mid-20s. He's going through.
When he was spitting on his fans from a balcony, you were like, "Go off, King."
See, when somebody says, well, you're being contradictory, I'm like, I'm not contradictory. I'm complicated.
No, you contain multitudes.
Yes. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.